It's awkward to be judged and put in the focus for who you are as a person. After that, it was, like, 4 years later. 4? After 3 or 4 years. I just looked at him and said, "Oh, there you are." He was there like he was always there. He looked like he could fit in the bend of my arm. He looked me straight in the eyes and was kind and smart. My kid was smart. Sandra Bullock might look like Hollywood's long-lost love. Warm, funny, and easy to like. But along the way, even the nicest stars meet some bad guys. There is a history of quiet tension, secret feuds, and fights with co-stars who pushed her limits behind the beautiful smile. One of the most strangest? An old fight with Angelina Jolie. One that had nothing to do with Brad Pitt and a Hollywood past that almost no one talks about. Today, we'll talk about 6 stars that Sandra Bullock supposedly couldn't stand. Third might really change the way you see her, trust me. First place goes to Angelina Jolie. Okay, I'll tell you the truth about the fight between Angelina Jolie and Sandra Bullock. It's not about Brad Pitt as the press always said. Gravity was the first movie that really made people tense. Angelina really wanted that part. People who knew her said she saw it as a chance to start over as a serious actor, movie star, and award winner. Jolie wasn't happy when Sandra got the part, though. The people on her team thought something she'd been after had been taken away. Sandy never directly dragged her, but in 2014 she said something that a lot of people took as a jab. "I had to work for Gravity, it wasn't just given to me." What she means? I earned this. Of course, not everyone can say that, and things kept getting tense. Later, when Oscar talk turned to Angelina's By the Sea and First They Killed My Father, rumors began to spread that Sandra, who was close to Brad Pitt and even Jennifer Aniston, wasn't really pulling for her. Someone who knows Sandra well even said that she isn't loyal to Angelina but to Brad and Jen. Then Sandra and Brad became fast friends in Hollywood and worked together on movies like The Lost City and Bullet Train. Sandra called him one of her kindest co-stars in public. Why not Angelina? Sources say she felt iced out, but she didn't say anything. When asked in 2017 about Sandra, Angelina gave the coldest answer you can think of. "I really do wish her the best, but we're not at all the same." That tone, you know. The tone of "I'm being polite" doesn't fuck K. They stay away from each other today. There won't be any public blows or messy news, but there will be no friendship. And to be honest, there is still the ghost of Gravity in the room. Sandy's whole life changed because of The Wind. Angelina lost one role. And those wounds don't really heal in Hollywood. They stop talking. 2. Meryl Streep. Sandra Bullock has always seen Hollywood as a war, where there is always competition, politics, and a lot of pressure. But no competition in the business has ever been as interesting as her strange, half-funny, half-serious dance with Meryl Streep, whom no one dares cross. During the 2009 to 2010 awards season, Bullock's movie The Blind Side put her in close competition with Streep, who was the clear winner at the time. At that very moment, America's sweetheart was up against the most prestigious actress living. Sandra didn't back down, instead, she went right for trouble. She even called Meryl and left a message. "Keep an eye on me, I'm going to cut you and knock you out." In response, Streep sent her dead flowers and told her to go to hell. Sandra fought back with a case of alcohol. It was inappropriate, dramatic, and very Hollywood. Some people in the know said it was the nicest fight Meryl had ever had, but there was real rivalry behind the jokes. Later, Bullock made a joke, "People don't know that Meryl has a mean side. I know I shouldn't turn away from her." That's what Streep said. The story about her quiet, sneaky involvement only grew. Outsiders saw tension, but it was really 2 strong actresses testing how sharp the other was, like rivals who quietly admire the other's swing. By the time the 2014 award season came around, Sandra was still making the competition fun. Bullock won for Gravity, and Streep won for August, Osage County. She joked that if we got into a fight, I'd try to kick her behind, but she'd kill me. It was a mix of honesty and acting. That was great for 2 women who knew how to make a competition funny. The fight has turned into sweet stories, dead flowers, and joke threats, but there's a simple reason why everyone still talks about it. It showed a Hollywood secret that not many people know. The stress is felt by even big names like Streep and Bullock. Icons need enemies to keep them going. 3. Kate Bosworth. Sandra Bullock and Julia Roberts were both named America's Sweetheart. They were the faces of an age and the queens of romantic comedies. Still, they never worked together, ran into each other, or even shared a public moment. Hollywood was sure there had to be a fight just by the silence. In the 1990s, Sandra became famous after Speed, and right away, the press called her the next Julia Roberts. Julia later told Oprah that the similarity made her angry. "I thought it was funny that someone wrote she was going to be the next Julia Roberts. It's not hate, it's just anger at being paired with another actress." In 2014, things came up again when Sandra joked at an award show that reports said she and Julia were fighting over George Clooney. "We're both okay with sharing parenting." The joke worked, but it also showed that they knew about the rumor. Years later, Julia didn't care about the competition again, saying, "It's all projection." After that, you knew the feud was just in people's minds and not real life. Where do they stand now? They were not rivals or friends, they were just two famous people who went their own ways and wouldn't let Hollywood make them fight. The feud between Bullock and Roberts wasn't real in the end, it was just a story that stuck around because people thought it was true. 4. Jennifer Aniston. Debbie Reynolds and Jennifer Aniston were never supposed to be friends in the 1990s. Studios loved a good rivalry, and these two actresses were perfect examples of America's sweethearts. They could be the lead in a romantic comedy, charm talk show crowds, and take over the box office. People always compared and competed with each other. They even had a relationship link through Tate Donovan, who dated Bullock first and then played Aniston's love interest on Friends. The business world didn't need to make conflict. It just let things happen as they would. Bullock later said it straight out. "People didn't want women to be friends with us back then. They walked around each other from a distance for years, being nice and professional but never getting close. During award seasons, they move in the same direction. People made subtle references during interviews, and the tone was always the same. The sweetheart of America could only rule at a time." Then, one wedding in 2010 changed everything. They both thought they would be making small talk like they do all the time in Hollywood, but instead they ended up doing shots together like they were on spring break with their friends. Bullock laughed as she thought about the time. "We were like, my God, we need to get together and unwind. We did that." Aniston made a joke that the drink she gave Bullock was stronger than the drink she got back. The rivalry was split in half by that crazy, funny night. All of a sudden, they realized they had more in common than any company had ever let them know. They are both crazy about interior design, love pulling elaborate pranks, believe in numerology, and value friendship very highly. Bullock was most moved by Aniston's kindness. She is never by herself. She could be tough, but she chooses to be friendly. In quieter times, the bond grew stronger. Bullock talked about a flight where she felt a lot of fear. Aniston, who was calm, steady, and almost maternal, reached across the table, grabbed her arm, and put her back on track. Sandra said, "She found the strength to comfort me." Because they were both afraid of flying, they ended up bonding by putting their heads down, locking their fingers, and breathing through the rough spots together. The reported fight is now only remembered as something from the old days in Hollywood. A story made up by a system that is meant to put women against each other. Bullock and Aniston have been together for years now, so they are no longer competing. What started as doubt turned into trust, and what seemed like competition changed into one of the best friendships between women in the business. 5. The actor Ryan Gosling. There has never been any truth to the rumors that Sandra Bullock and Ryan Gosling are fighting. Born out of timing, stress, and the way Hollywood makes a split into a news story. People forget how young Gosling was when it all started and how quickly Bullock had to leave. It began on the set of Murder by Numbers in 2002. He was 21 and new to Hollywood, trying to make it. She was already a star at age 38. Their connection wasn't just emotional, it was also strong. Later, Gosling said she was one of his best girlfriends ever, and Bullock said he was the only thing that kept her from getting too crazy. She said he looked like a little Buddha, but their work hours were terrible and the business was even worse. It was true, Gosling said, show business is bad. Nothing else can grow because it takes all the light. Sandra is facing the ageist pressures of Hollywood while working on 2 movies at the same time. They knew the relationship couldn't last. The split happened quickly, but it wasn't mean. It was just a bad time. Still, tabloid turned the story into an angry one by saying Bullock hated him afterward. She actually never said anything bad. Gosling always had a friendly voice. Friends say the breakup was sad but polite. Too many jobs going in different directions too quickly. That's the truth. There was no fight or deception, just a short but powerful relationship that changed both of them. After that, Gosling started a family with Eva Mendes. Brian Randall and Bullock fell in love. But the lessons they taught each other about staying calm and grounded stayed with them. Their story wasn't exciting. It had to do with timing, growth, and a link that was important, even if it didn't last. 6th, George Clooney. People are most shocked by the name George Clooney when it comes to Sandra Bullock. Their friendship turned into anger and a quiet Hollywood standoff over time, not because they didn't get along right away. The harsh reality of shooting Gravity didn't go well with Clooney's reputation as the sweet prankster of every set. Bullock had to be strapped into harnesses for hours and spin through take after take. She couldn't stand Clooney's normal antics. She finally lost it and told him straight out that jokes had no place in such a serious movie. She even called him a overgrown frat boy behind closed doors. It was the first time in Clooney's career that he stopped. It wasn't just pranks that made them angry. There was a clash of ideas. Clooney liked to make things less tight. Sandra ran hers like a submarine underwater with a pressure seal. One team member said it so well. She is water and he is oil. In the end, though, they had to work together again when Bullock asked Clooney to fix her brand. Clooney agreed right away and then joked that she had taken the part from him, pulling a sly grin from his face. The people no longer saw the feud. There's no change in how they act around the cameras or in conversations. They still joke around with each other. But people who know say the truth is less complicated and cooler. Even though Bullock likes Clooney, she doesn't trust his style. Clooney looks up to Bullock, but he will never forget how quickly he was shut down. Someone once said it better than anyone else. He's a good friend, but not always a good co-star. Sandra Bullock's fights in Hollywood aren't just rumors. A woman fiercely guards her craft and her limits in these glimpses. She'll do anything to keep the peace, no matter how big or small the fight is. What do you think? Honest work or a star being pushed to her limits? Tell us in the comments, and don't forget to share and like.